Good.
Welcome, everybody, for another episode of Bumps and Bruises, a podcast by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Joining you, as always, is me, Marcos, aka at the Sunset Kid 56. Of course, the two men above me, pause. It is Derek the Lock Stallion, I believe, on this side, but it's probably going to be this side. And then we got Shane on this side, aka Drizzen 13, or he's probably on this side. Boys, we're back at it again. Another week of wrestling, leading up to what is the Super Bowl of wrestling, the biggest weekend for any wrestling fan, whether you're there on foot, on site, like Derek, or you're remotely enjoying, spiritedly like me and Shane. It is gear up time. There's something about this time frame that is just so special. Guys, how you guys doing?
I'm feeling it. I'm ready. I know Derek and I have been talking about it. He's putting everything together, get ready to hit the ground running over there. That was my original intent, but I tell you what, family obligations hold me back, and the wallet is holding me back. So shout out to those of you that can pull it off.
I feel that.
Trust me, it is not easy. Okay. WrestleMania season just gets more stressful as the years go by. Especially like this is what, my third. So yeah, the jump in price is insane.
It's a big one too. Big jump.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's close. That's all I can say. I'm glad I ain't got to travel across the states. Really,
I would have preferred that. There.
Marcos and I had the out because it is not close for us.
Yeah, and I had the fortune of going on a cruise right before. And it was a choice of adding more expenses to that, or would have been a crazy April, or being home. And at first it was a tough choice, but then when the Mania prices came out, I was like, ha, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, man.
So it allows me to focus on other hobbies.
I did take that shift though. I took some money that I already had squared away and shifted that over when we went to Rumble, and kind of upgraded the experience there, and I think that was well worth it.
All right, so
you made some contacts too.
Let's go ahead and jump right in it. Shane, you're doing SmackDown, right? So tell us what happened on SmackDown, and we'll, like always, guys, me and Derek are gonna kind of weigh in, but Shane is gonna go through, the results and kind of like his experience and what he thought about the show this week.
Well, SmackDown. We're back in the States and in Chicago, and hats off to that Chicago crowd because they were as hot as just about any of the stops on that international tour. They came out strong. Obviously, the thing you do when you're in Chicago, out comes Punk to start us off, and Punk told us, just a little bit about what's going on. Hey, I've got this favor that I got to cash in. As soon as he mentions the favor, Heyman comes on out and says, please, just let me know what it is. Let me know what it is so I can figure out how much Roman's going to hate me. And Punk says, nah, once Roman's here, I'll tell you what it is. So Roman's not in the building yet. We got to wait for that. But the crowd ate it up, having Punk come out to start us. Kept them hot. They were chanting the entire time. A 30-minute segment once again to start off the show. Just kind of
they gotta get those tickets, man. They gotta drive home that this is a matchup that you can't miss.
The formula has been pretty consistent. We've been doing these 30-minute interview in-ring situations to start pretty much all of the shows recently, and I think it works. But I would like to see some more time dedicated to in-ring, but what we got following, definitely, because we finally saw the debut of Penta's brother, Rey Fenix.
Yes.
And great intro. You could tell he was hyped, and facing off against Nathan Frazer from NXT of the Tag Team Championship.
Who's a cheat code. You bringing somebody the caliber of Nathan Frazer as the guy that you debut Rey Fenix, come on. That is that's like an indie darling's wet dream right there.
And
but continue.
He blew me away. Like, I watch NXT, and I think, like, and we've seen Axiom, we've seen what they do. He was elevated in this. There were a couple of spots that obviously they were both going too fast. We had another. Derek talked about it. There's something with these ropes. They got some magnets in them or something. We had a
Bro,
flip of the rope.
2025. The middle rope is undefeated. It happened in AEW too. It's like they are in their Roman Reigns era. Like everybody has to acknowledge them.
The ring ropes are at their peak.
Yeah.
But Fraser
God
had a
mode.
dive to the outside and clipped it. Hats off to Phoenix. Moved quick, got under him, saved him from any big injuries or anything. Everybody saw it for a minute, but they recovered quick. The way that both of them, Ray Phoenix just entering the ring, like walking up the ropes like it's stairs for any of the rest of us, turning around on the top rope, stepping over to the other side. Insane. Just that little display was impressive. But huge back and forth. Obviously, this was made for Phoenix. Phoenix goes over with the Mexican Muscle Buster, and great debut. Then he gets on the mic, which I don't know that he ever even spoke in all the time in AEW.
I thought he was mute.
Gets on the mic, says, "I'm so excited to be here. I love being a part of WWE, and I'm excited to have him. I can't wait until we see the Lucha Bros officially become the Lucha Bros."
I mean, they're already acknowledged. Both shows, Raw and SmackDown, were like the brothers, the Lucha Brothers, and it's kind of like cool.
They're ready for it, and they're getting their singles push, which is great. I mean,
yeah,
we're going to see Penta right there, and it'd be interesting. I don't think they have enough time to kind of put Phoenix into anything for WrestleMania, but it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of squeeze him in there. So fast-paced, lots of fun, definitely worthwhile to go see if you enjoy lucha style wrestling. Went from there, little backstage segment, getting ready for the we've got Tama Tonga versus LA Knight coming up. We get a little backstage. LA Knight and Braun Strowman are sitting there talking, and Tonga and Solo come up. I think the entire reason for this segment was just for Tama to go, yeah. I think that's the entire reason we have this segment, is just so they can shoehorn that in there.
And also, it was a good way to interact. I liked it. I think we're going to still get that multi-man match, I believe, right? Or they haven't gotten there yet. We got this week coming up.
So we haven't seen them all together yet, and it's been a minute since we've seen Solo do much. And the match that we got, Tonga and LA Knight, was kind of exactly what you'd expect. Very straightforward match. Nothing that was a real surprise. Good back and forth. Solo came out with him. Solo tries to provide the distraction. Nothing out of line. Doesn't cost the match or anything. But LA Knight hits him one time, catches Tonga, finishes him off, and then immediately books it out of the ring to avoid the beatdown. But pretty straightforward there. Not a whole anything that's going to surprise you, really.
Yeah, it was a pretty good match. Great, like 3 segments back to back to back that did the whole program justice. So I assume now your tune has changed in terms of SmackDown this week. Did they bring you back in?
SmackDown I thought was better this week, and I think that a lot of it is because the ball's rolling. We're ready to go. We're getting there. They have to keep up pace, but there were definitely some questionable moments, and we'll get to those in just a second.
Okay.
Because one of them is right around the corner. But first, we cut to the back. Paul's waiting. He wants to find out what this favor is. He has to get Roman there. Finally, it's bothering him so much. He turns to the camera and he says, "Look, Punk, I don't care what it is, whatever your request is. Yes, it's a yes." As he says it, here comes the vehicle. Stops. He's, "Yes, my tribal chief." Door opens, and Seth Rollins steps out.
Hey, that was a tease.
Seth
that was
steps
a
out and
tease.
says, "Man, oh man, you look terrible. You look absolutely terrible. Run away from Roman. Run away from Punk. Get yourself away from these fools. They're killing you." I don't know what to tell you. It's the best thing that ever. My best decision was getting away from them. You need to do the same. So again, I got to tip the hat to Marcos. He called it a month and a half ago and said Seth is going to be leaving with Heyman. Heyman is going to make sure that he wins. And I said, I just don't see how we get there. Well, every single thing since I said those words has been going, oh, this is exactly how you get there. It's a straightforward path. And
like the foreshadowing, calling him his tribal chief. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
So we're still waiting for Roman to get there. But then we cut. And then we go to the showdown. Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton in the ring. Wade Barrett has to be there because there was so much animosity last time. He's got to be the peacemaker. He's got to be there to make sure. First off, Charlotte and Tiffany come out, and did they coordinate their outfit beforehand? Were they mad at each other because, oh my God, you wore the same dress as me? Because they looked identical. It's what you want to see out of a tag team, not out of people that are facing off, and you want to see differences between them, because there's been a lot of talk of Tiffy being the next Charlotte. She's a Charlotte clone. This didn't help that. But this devolved so quickly into one of the worst things, in my opinion, that we've seen in the WWE in quite a while, because you can tell they just, any script that they may have, any key points that might have been, let's make sure we talk about this. I don't know that they cared at all. I don't know if it was worth it. Flair has, sorry, go ahead. Jump in there.
We know the train wreck that this segment came out to, and not to cut you off, but to, the long and short of it is they started to go personal, and then things got awkward in front of the crowd. So, instead of just talking about it, this particular segment, let's take this a little bit of time and just be like, how would you have booked it? If you would have been able to be like, all right, you're the producer of this segment. How, you were going down the path about talking points and everything. How you, Shane, would have handled this situation if you were their producer?
Well, first off, the first thing that jumps out to me is Charlotte right now has gone beyond the point of being the villain, being the heel, and it hears like she has go home heat. People just don't even want her on the screen right now. And all her talk about, I'm gonna be the 16-time, who cares about what Cena's gonna do? It's gonna be me. I'm gonna break my dad's record. I don't think anybody likes that right now. And we were there when she came back, and Rumble, they tried to do the babyface thing. I worked so hard to get back. I wanted to be back for you guys. And the crowd just flipped on her, turned on her instantly. And I don't know if it's because people read the internet too much. They think they know her. I don't know if she's just an unlikable persona, but it feels like people don't want her on the screen right now, much less.
Okay. Now, knowing that bit, as a person that can separate itself from the product, right? What have you been would have focused on in this promo? Number one, I think
if we're having this and we've already saw them go off script, even if we sat them down in the back and said, look, you all can't do this, I'm not going to trust them for that. I'm going to have it devolve instantly. They're going to go in, they're going to start talking. Barrett's going to be there to make sure that everything goes right. And after the second or third line where they try and rip each other, take it to physicality, because that gets rid of the chance to go off script. It gets rid of the chance to try and make things personal. And we don't have to deal with that. And Barrett's right there. He can try and pull one off. They can jump back at each other. Barrett's trying to keep the peace. Security runs in. I think that's the way that we do that versus what we're seeing right now, because these interview segments are not helping either one. And I think Charlotte has that go home heat, that X-Pac heat, if you will. And this is taking a lot of the shine off of Tiffy, in my opinion. She's getting pulled right down, hook, line, and sinker. And this went from what could be a great matchup to something that is going to be a break match.
I think that they're going to put on a hell of a match.
They definitely can.
But I think it's gonna be a situation where the stuff that led up to this match is going to overshadow whatever they do in the ring.
I agree.
And like honestly, like I would have either had a situation where it would have been moderated. They've done this before. Have it like a two podiums halfway buried, ask questions. Give each channel like sort of like a debate type thing, and then at a certain point they jaw jacket each other, and then have them, brawl or whatever.
Yeah.
And but the first thing out the gate, I would have just had, if I would have seen their outfits, I would have been like, one of y'all got to change.
One of you go in the back and change. You two are mirror images of each other. Right?
Like you know what I mean? Like, or if you're gonna go play off the dark and light, have Tiffy wear black, have Charlotte wear white. Because if you notice in cinematography, they typically put the evil character in white.
Right.
Because or having them wear black is too obvious.
Mhm.
Right.
So and it's
I got a question for y'all though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all both mentioned the personal shots. I feel like WWE has done it and there's been personal shots and it wasn't bad, because if we go back to Riddle and Seth when they were backstage just on two cameras mic'd up talking to each other, there was personal shots there, but it wasn't taken how this one was, at least to me.
Well, there's a difference because Riddle did not just go on a talk show talking about his divorce. That is internet chatter.
Yeah.
And I think what did this feud a disservice, that kind of like Tiffany started this path that we're on where it devolved, is her mentioning her outside of the WWE realm talk show appearance, where you got Ashley instead of Charlotte. You know what I mean?
Touché.
Where and then they were trying to, like, I guess, co-brand or something, or some people just don't have anything to talk to, so they're like, oh, you were trying to be the good girl and this, and it's like, no. And also I think I don't know, man, like I feel like Charlotte still hasn't gotten over the fact that she had to pivot to this character.
I would agree. I definitely
like if she would have came in as the cocky heel, like she's played so many times, and not even just be like, I'm Charlotte, I'm the queen of the ring, or blah blah blah, but it's like that she's never in her career had a pivot like this, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's mind-blowing to her because as a performer it could mess with your head. You know what I mean? There's examples where people know, like, they're professionals, like Rock Hogan. If the Rock was like 10 years younger, who knows if the Rock would have reacted like that. The Rock and Hogan kind of like non-verbally were like, okay, this is where we're at, before nobody in their ear. The ref wasn't going to tell them like, hey, you go face, you go, like, you know what I mean? They're just like, okay, let's play to this crowd, let's give them the story, and I don't know if Charlotte Flair has ever had that. She's always been the clear, defined person, whether she's face or heel. Like she was a baby face like years ago when Ronda, you know what I mean? And it was still like very heelish, but baby face, because people were. But once you like I guess is the fact that she didn't come off genuine, although she was. Like, I honestly believe that her feelings when she first did the interview, like, she probably pushed. She's like, no, everybody's gonna want to hear this story because it's important to you. Like, she probably was like, man, I'm doing all this 18 months, like this personal issues that I've had in my life leading up to this moment. This is gonna all be worth it. And then it did not, and then it's like, it might be a situation where, maybe it's just not, the pairing's not working or the writing, whatever. But at a certain point, I felt like she's still dealing with that. And her comments are resentful. Like, I don't know if you noticed, she's like, I did all this and they cheer you. You know what I mean?
And
like,
definitely, we had a brief, very short chance to chat with her at Rumble, and she was excited to be you could tell that she was excited to be face, like she was happy to be back, and all of that feels like it's burned itself up in a couple weeks, if not a month.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll turn things around. WWE, against all odds, they always figure out a way. That's why they put on the product that they do. I think in some other organizations, maybe it's a situation where you just like, all right, let's just like have one of them cut promos separately, like a la Cody did before Cena showed up, and then or have Cena show up and Cody not show up, and
Yeah, it's all
then those,
backstage segments with somebody walking in at the last minute, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's time to go off the interview segments for these two and just let it be physical brawl.
and it's like for all Charlotte, she was probably good to go, and then something was said, and like she was visibly shaken by the crowd reaction.
She was having to scream into the microphone to be heard. The boos at that level were surpassing Dom.
Yeah, and it's like Dom knows what he's there for. Like but it's like if you wasn't expecting that, that is insane.
Yeah,
And
and to Dom's credit, he fought through it every single time and made it part of his character, which has drawn respect from fans and coworkers alike.
Yeah, like the last thing you want to do as a heel is break in front of the crowd, because that's what they want.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
When you're booing, they're trying to acknowledge you. There's boo, like boo you, and then there's like, no, we're gonna stop you in your tracks.
And especially when you're in a Chicago, a New York, when you're in those situations, that's where they're coming after you full force.
Yeah.
But we went on from there. That situation went the way that it went. We won't even mention the things that were said. Feel free to look it up on the internet. And we got a number one contenders match, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY. Again, nothing that we don't expect. And with these two in the ring, you can expect a lot. And they give it to you because these are two of the best tag teams in the ring today. And Motor City Machine Guns have been doing it for decades. DIY the same, and just a great back and forth. DIY's starting to sniff that heel turn where they were the baby face for a while, but Ciampa takes off the top turnbuckle. And you know what happens if they don't hit that top turnbuckle immediately? Comes back to bite him in the ass. He hits the top turnbuckle, and Saban gets to roll him up for the pin.
Yeah. It was a good match. Like I think again, this is leading there. Everybody's chasing the title. And they had the Street Profits, I believe, were either at ringside or they were in the back, like looking at it. And then you have other people. I think it's going to still end up being a multi-men match, because there are already multiple individuals.
And it's what we've said that SmackDown is doing right, especially with the tag team. They're focusing on the titles. There's lots of tag teams that are doing well, but we have an even split from like face to heel. But at any time, any of those tag teams can flip and become the heel or become the face. Exactly what we've seen with Street Profits. They came back, healed it up, beat everybody down, and are running with it. Fantastic work. Motor City Machine Guns easily could go heel in this route, and they could have been the ones that, beat DIY against the exposed turnbuckle or whatever the case may be. And DIY, Ciampa, obviously we've seen him be, a top heel for years. I always have a little bit of trouble like seeing Gargano as a true heel. I know he's done it, but he's like such a boyish, like happy face to him. It's hard to see him heel.
They need to be faced. I think Gargano needs to bring back the fatigues. I think not Gargano, Ciampa, and then Gargano needs to go back to the X-Men, ring gear. Like that. Like that's when they were truly DIY from yesteryear. They were amazing, and they still are amazing. But it's kind of like it's DIY interpreted from somebody that used to see them but didn't really work with them,
right?
Like, you know what I mean? It's like guys, we know what DIY is. It's like, do you? Because we're not the same DIY that we were apparently. Like we're completely different characters now. But
we cut to the back and we continue the tag team theme. We see Miz and Mello walking down the hallway. and they bump into Pretty Deadly. Immediately jump in on Pretty Deadly. You were in your hometown. All the fans were behind you. You still lost. Pretty Deadly takes that time to kind of turn a shot at Miz and says, "Oh, well, you suck too, because the Marine sucked. The Marine 6 sucked. The Marine 7 sucked." And he's like, "Yeah, but at least I made those." So a fun interaction, which is going to lead to more of them, which easily those two teams could be in the title picture like that, without a doubt. And apparently Miz and Mello might have a team name with Mello Don't Miz,
which I like. It's like, yes, Mello deserves more, but I'm always down for a role with a Hall of Famer that gets you a lot of TV time versus you being off TV.
Well, and let's not forget that the two of them together, as we learned at the end of that segment, they are awesome.
Yeah.
I can't.
They are. But so then what happened after that?
So then B-Fab coming to the ring, trying to get her comeback on Naomi. She wants to kind of make up for getting the beat down a week ago. B-Fab's waiting in the ring. Here comes Naomi. And before Naomi can get a third of the way down the ring, Jade comes running up, beating down from behind, puts that whooping on, just like Naomi did to Michin last week or 2 weeks ago, and just beats her down quick. But Naomi, in that Michin same way, says, no, I'm okay, I can still go. Gets in the ring, and obviously she can still go because in a 2.5 minute match, she squashes B-Fab instantly.
Yeah, and I know people are like, "Oh man, this sucks," but it's like you have to have these matches in order for you to realize that if one of them loses, it'll be more important. Like, you don't want to see Jade face Naomi, who's lost 3 times on SmackDown.
And
you know what I mean?
Naomi having a squash match, which is something that we don't see very often as a whole, unless it's, one of the dominant monsters. Having Naomi have the squash match like that, legitimate, kind of re-legitimizes her as a top woman on the roster.
Yep.
So having her get a squash match with somebody that, with her experience, she should be able to handle, and she did, I think elevates her and kind of puts that shine back on her.
Yep.
But she gets on the mic and says, "Jade, all you do is jump me from behind. Come out here and face." Boom. Jade jumps her from behind. Comes through the crowd. And
say his name, man. He appears.
God.
So wrestling is an old saying in wrestling. All you got to do is mention somebody. But yeah, and then Naomi does that. That's when she does the boot to the face spot, right? And then kind of like,
well, security comes in and separates them. Naomi slips out. Jade beats the hell out of security.
Yeah.
Guys the size of Derek and I just getting the ass whooped.
They should.
And Nick Aldis comes out and says, No. I'm tired of this. Y'all are beating each other up. You're beating up my security team. That's it. WrestleMania, Naomi versus Jade, and it's official. That match is happening. So some clarity there. We're finally moving forward, which is good because, we're 10 days out. We probably need to go ahead and solidify some of these things.
Yep.
How do y'all feel about that being a Mania match?
I mean, it was expected.
The internet's been talking, and a lot of people don't like it. I love it, but that's just me. So I'm just curious.
Of course you love it.
I mean, I would have preferred Lara Valkyria defending her singles title and Mania versus this.
I think that's happening too, though.
I don't know if it is. I don't think they're gonna fit that because they get a tag team match next week, and then it'll be like it's gonna be a Thursday preview Friday. Like, you know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah.
But the rivalry does deserve this match because it's a long-term payoff to a story, and I think they've done a good job building on it without using Bianca. I'm glad that Bianca's like, I have nothing to do with this anymore. Like after the reveal happened, it's like later. Like
You think it's gonna tie back
hope,
into her though eventually?
huh?
Because I mean, they're all gonna be there in Mania.
Excuse me. I don't think it. I think depends on when does somebody get their match. If Bianca gets her match night one, then I can see Bianca interfering or causing something in night two.
Yeah, if it's reversed,
okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening if Naomi and Jade go on before Bianca, because that'll take a lot of the luster off Bianca's match.
Yep. And at that point, it wouldn't need it. It would be like, hopefully, a celebrating Bianca wouldn't happen. But if she lost the match, easily come out and be like, this is your fault. Like, I wasn't focused. I was ready, and you guys muddied the water. Now both of y'all got to beat down.
Both of them?
And, yeah.
Well, then we get the most unexpected part of the night, because Kevin Owens makes his way out, and Owens announces that he is injured. He has a neck injury that's going to require surgery. He doesn't know how long he'll be out, but it's indefinite, and that he cannot compete at WrestleMania. And
which is, it's crazy for it to happen, and you can tell by the look in his face that it was killing him. But then, the internet community is the internet community. They made it like, oh, I call BS. I don't think it's a word.
Part of our internet community is right there, or right there, whichever side.
Look,
Derek,
you think it's a word?
Nah,
Derek, you think it's a word?
Listen, I think so.
Excuse me. Hold on. For people to know a word, we're using a lot of industry terms. I am by no means a wrestler, never had training, but I know the lingo.
Yeah.
So this is all scripted. That is, I believe this is a real life injury. So let's use those terms. It's a real life injury. I think it's IRL.
So I think it's fake, because
we don't use that word.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Let me change that. I think
it's delete.
Hold on. While I eat my my podcast pudding.
Podcast pudding. I'm dead. Cause so 2 weeks before Mania, you come out and have to have a surgery.
I mean, he hasn't wrestled since
true.
The pay-per-view with Sammy.
True.
And he's normally a dude that
he has a meet and greet at World.
Yeah, but
that is sold out.
Not like, I don't think he's gonna have the surgery this week. I think he's gonna wait until after WrestleMania. He's still gotta, like, he's not gonna pull up like with the neck brace.
Yeah, this is Derek doing his Sherlock Holmes going,
I don't know, man.
But Derek, he's not fighting anybody.
He's still gonna be there.
Derek, who's he fighting?
Derek said if he's having that meet and greet, doesn't have the match, he's fighting him.
Like, obviously he could get physical. He just can't wrestle. He can't take the bumps. Like, sitting at a meet and greet table.
I mean, this is true. Look, I've seen stuff happen. And
hell, Lex Luger has meet and greets. So you think he's like, nah, brother, it's all kayfabe. Like,
he probably ready to take one last bump.
That'll be his last bump of his life. do not put that on my man Lex.
Nah, tell that to Flair, who's angling for another retirement match.
Hey, he said I'm ready. He said he needs one in WWE.
But with that,
he had one in WWE.
Yes,
that was
he's had them everywhere.
The best one.
Touche.
But go ahead, continue.
In possibly some of the best long-term storytelling that the WWE has ever done, Orton comes out because he's pissed that he now doesn't have a match at Mania, and RKO the shit out of Nick Aldis, which 3 years ago, Nick Aldis fined him $50,000 for RKOing Nick Aldis, and Randy handed him a check for $100,000 and said, "That's for the next one." So he's already prepaid. He's good to go.
Yeah. He wouldn't be mad. He'd be like, all right, you know, I find him. He already got, you know.
I mean, he told me it was coming. What can I do?
Yeah.
Gotta be more
coming.
So then we get the monsters once again. Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, last man standing, number one
Big
contender.
men slapping meat. Go ahead.
Meaty men slapping meat, which this had all of the big man spots. Tons of heavy hits through tables, outside the ring, through the barricade, you name it, they did it.
Multiple splashes by Fatu. Excuse me. Multiple what is it? What does he do the top rope when he backflips onto the person?
The moonsault.
Yeah, multiple moonsaults.
And hitting them just with flow, hopping off that second rope onto the top.
Yeah,
gorgeous
like nothing.
moonsaults, especially for a man that size. And the match finally ends. Jacob, the table gets set up in the corner. Braun gets whipped. Jacob goes, hits the hip into the table. The table actually, they could have planned it better. It folds perfectly on Braun, so he's kind of trapped under the table. They both start to pull themselves up, but Braun was absolutely had table all over him. So he's trying to shake the table off. Jacob gets up right at 9. Braun is almost up, but can't get the last piece of table off of him. We get the 10 count. Last man standing. Jacob Fatu is going to Mania with LA Knight to go after that title.
At which he becomes the Werewolf King. The one to rule all of the United States.
The United States Werewolves.
Yeah.
So we finally cut to the back again, and here he comes. Finally, the tribal chief has returned. Paul is like, "Oh, thank goodness, my tribal chief, you were here." Roman walks right by him, ignores every word he's saying, straight to the ring. He's on a mission. He gets in the ring, tells us how annoying CM Punk has been. He should just tell Heyman what the favor is so that he can stop being such a loser and they can just have this match with whatever the case may be. And he says, CM Punk, get out here. And Seth Rollins comes out. I swear, Seth Rollins is the most annoying man in this thing.
Is he or is he the smartest? He's the architect.
I don't know. He doesn't feel like he has a reason to be here other than he wants to fight people, which I guess is a good enough reason. But damn.
It's a wrestling company, right? You get physical. So he's like, oh, I want hands on the man. Like everybody gets it. Like, you know, but go ahead.
And Seth says, look, I've adapted. I'm ready for this. Like the reality has changed and I'm controlling it. Which that just lends more credence to what Marcos has said, that Heyman leaves and forget CM Punk, forget Roman. Seth is going to be the one that Heyman backs here. But Roman says, look, you're unloyal. You can't be trusted. I tried. You turned on me. Nobody believes that you're ever going to help them. So I think that leads even more to Heyman being there for him. One of the most impressive things about the whole show, because there were a lot of points that, especially like the Charlotte Tiffany match, when you know we're seeing Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY, which we've seen many, many times, even though it was a solid match. We get to this end segment, and the crowd is still hot as can be. They're doing the Roman Reigns chant just as it was done overseas with that cadence, that soccer kind of esque chant. Sounded fantastic. They're still incredibly hot. Finally, CM Punk's music hits.
You're struggling
as soon
over there,
as that
man.
music hits,
Huh?
I say he's struggling over there with that headset. I'm sorry.
got too much hair.
I was trying to pull my hair back and it just kept coming forward.
I saw it. He just had the little wave right there. He's fighting.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? Come on, down. Go down.
Pause. So finally, CM Punk's music hits, and as quickly as that crowd brought in that Roman Reigns chant, the CM Punk's chant immediately overtook. But we're in Chicago. They want their guy. Here he comes. CM Punk gets on the mic, tells the story about how he got sent to OVW. Paul was leading it there after like one day they tell Paul, fire this kid, get rid of him. And Paul says, no, it's not going to happen. I'm keeping him. I like him. He refused to let him go. Heyman then goes and gets released a couple years later. And Punk talks about how all he could think about in that moment is, this is the guy. This is the only guy that's believed in me. Now that he's gone, what's going to happen to me? And Heyman told him, you're going to keep doing exactly what you're doing. You've been successful. Keep being you. And then one day, you're going to main event WrestleMania, and we're going to come down to the ring together, and they're going to have to deal with both of us. And he says, with that, my favor that you've already agreed to is you're in my corner at WrestleMania, and Roman, you have to deal with us. Steph just busts out laughing. It's like, he gotcha. Roman goes, whatever. This is my wise man. He loves me. I saved him. I rescued him. There's no way he's going to do this. He looks to Heyman. Real tears. Full credit to that man. Full on tears coming out of the eyes. Roman's like, quit crying and just tell him that you're not going to do it. Heyman shaking with the mic says, no, my tribal chief. I can't do it. Roman pushes him into the corner. Takes his handkerchief, wipes his tears for him. Looks like Roman's getting ready to lay it down. Punk hits him from behind. Picks him up. Go to sleep. Turns to Seth. He and Seth are staring at each other. Heyman's on the outside saying, no, 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 please, no. Seth slips out, just laughs his way to the back. Punk hits the little, oh, you done now, night, night. Fade to black.
Great way to end the show.
Yeah.
So
especially in Chicago.
Yeah, that was a good show. I was excited watching it. It's the first one that we've watched at regular Eastern Standard Time here.
No,
you know,
that
in
was
the
rough.
nighttime.
That was rough.
Yeah, in the nighttime, I was like, wait a minute, I don't got the whole evening to myself anymore. It's like, no, you don't, sir. So after that, guys, I did a thing this weekend. I was at AEW Dynasty.
You left your
covering.
home?
Huh?
You left your home?
Yeah, I left my house. I went to AEW Dynasty and basically was there taking in the pay-per-view. And I'm not going to get into too detail going over it. I'm just going to talk about the highlights there. The pre-show had Leo Rush, Action Andretti versus Nick Wayne and Top Flight, and AR Fox. Great opening match. The crowd was in on it, and then there was a long lull between that match and then the final match of the pre-show, which was Max Caster's Open Challenge. Him and his tag team partner broke up, and they're kind of doing this whole thing, and then Max Caster is now doing.
How did they break up? I completely missed this, and I stayed informed.
They broke up a while back because Max has kind of felt that Bowens was dead weight. And all of a sudden, as soon as, he's like, all right, I'm ready for my first challenge, as Max Bowen comes out to probably one of the biggest pops that they had all night.
Looking like defeats a Power
Max.
Ranger.
Yeah, he defeats Max Caster in 10, 15 minutes, in a minute, and goes over on him. The entire crowd was sending people home early. It was funny because I believe I was sitting in front of Max's parents because they were having a good old time too. And then we opened the pay-per-view. It's funny because the Dapper Yapper was saying, people were going, ole, ole, Ospreay. And then he was like, keep it up. He might just come out. And the first match on the pay-per-view was Ospreay versus Kevin Knight for the Owen Hart quarterfinal cup. In a great match, Kevin Knight, if you guys don't know who he is, he's a New Japan standout, one of the first African American to graduate from the New Japan dojo in the States. For aesthetically wise, he looks like Mello. He's Mello's height, but has both him and Trick's athleticism, but Trick's hair. So it's pretty good. He's a good wrestler. That's all I'm gonna say. You got to watch it. It was an amazing match between him and Will Ospreay, and then we got my vote to be the future, the MVP. If AEW keeps him, is Cal Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe for another tournament match. Of course, Fletcher wins, so we might get the actual rematch of Fletcher versus Ospreay in the semifinals. Who knows? And then, we get Mercedes Moné. She's in the tournament, even though she's the champion, that they typically would probably face her for a title shot, but she's in there. She faced Julia Hart, and what was surprisingly a good match. I thought it was going to be a squash. They put together a pretty decent match. Of course, Mercedes went over on that, and then we had Death Riders versus FTR, which is pretty much Pac, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta versus rated FTR, which is Adam Copeland and FTR. So great match. Somehow, the cohesiveness of the Death Riders gets one over on rated FTR. And they've been teasing this for a couple weeks, that FTR was going to break up. And then, no, there wasn't a breakup. What actually ended up happening is that they turned on Adam Copeland. And basically what they did is they went out, shades of Edge and Christian. They took that man out with a one chair concerto. They had, and it looked sick in the crowd. You probably see the video out there. It was pretty well executed. I personally think that they're teasing, the long awaited Edge and Christian, comeback, because Christian, failed his last cash in on the belt, and he kind of hasn't been on TV, so he can easily come back. All he needs to do is help Edge. Oh, excuse me, help Adam Copeland, and then that's how wrestling is. It's like you could literally kill somebody the week before, but you help one guy out, and they're like, "There it is."
That might be the thing that gets me to fully tune in for an AEW pay-per-view if there's an ENC reunion.
Like, and then the rest is like, when I say by the numbers, I mean it's typical, really good wrestling in mat wrestling. You had Hurt Syndicate versus Big Bill and Brian Keefe. I just think this was a match to get the Hurt Syndicate on there. It was amazing. The crowd popped. They throughout the entrance and the match, they just kept saying, the West Side Gun, we hurt people. We hurt. that was the entire chant, and it was cool because West Side Gun was there. So
there we go.
There was no chance that I thought Big Bill and BK Brian Keefe were going to win, even though I love BK. He's awesome. Then we had probably, for me, my personal favorite match of the night for pure moments was Kenny Omega versus Mike Speedball Bailey versus Ricochet for the International Championship. Boy, oh boy. First of all, I'm that day, I just realized that Mike Bailey does not wear shoes. He wears
I didn't realize that either.
He wears kick pads, and the way the kick pads come down, he's barefoot.
Oh.
And which makes all his athleticism even crazier because he's doing it barefoot. So there was so many crazy spots. Of course, Kenny Omega wins with an avalanche, one-winged angel from the second rope on Ricochet. And then, they were doing the Mike Speedball Bailey situation. They had a wonderful spot where he was favoring his left leg. And I don't know if you know anything about his gimmick. He did the karate kick, crane kick on Ricochet, which was amazing.
I did see that. It looked really good.
He connected. Like Ralph Macchio would probably be like, "Hold on, get that man on the phone. We need him to teach me." Like, you know what I mean? It was really good.
There is a new Karate Kid coming out.
Yeah, like, hey, it was an awesome match. And then we had Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia, which, man, I am so glad that Adam Cole is in a great space. He looked great. Daniel looked great. You know what? The most memorable part of this match, they put on a hell of a match, was seeing Adam Cole finally hold up a championship that wasn't like a tournament, like, oh, this year's tournament champion. He finally has a belt, a decent TNT belt, and it It was awesome. But let me backtrack a little bit. After the Kenny Omega match, teasing to All In Texas, Okada, coin drop, comes out, don't say anything, gets in each other's face, holds up titles, and then Kenny leaves out the ring. So I think that's gonna main event All In what's it called, Texas in July.
Okay, I lied. That's something else that'll make me watch AEW right there.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a unification title because I think they're gonna do the right thing. This should be called the Intercontinental title, not the International and the Continental Championship. You know, it should be the IC belt. It should be one belt. That's what it should be.
National title.
Yeah, like, and then we had, I don't know, man. This was lower in the card, but I'm just going off of my notes here. They had Jericho versus Bandito, and like Bandito is literally how you not book a wrestler in AEW Ring of Honor. He was the man. He was supposed to make Rey Fenix and Penta look like old men because he's young. He's still in his 20s. And, you know, if it wasn't for injuries, it was poor story booking. They had this man come out like the Laredo Kid with a cowboy hat and a freaking long jacket. And I'm like, he's not a desperado. He's the bandido. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just let him. Like, stop messing with these gimmicks that are already established. Like, let him be who he is. He looks great, and he could go. And so they had this whole thing where Jericho, Brian Keefe came out and distracted the ref, and Jericho clocked him with a bat. And then, you know, much to the crowd's boos, they declared him the winner because, you know, he pinned him right away. And then Aubrey, the ref, came out. Apparently a fan, which happened to be Bandito's family, was like, no, something happened. And his mom and wife came out, pointed out the bat, and then they restarted the match. Instead of just being like, oh, this match doesn't count, winner by disqualification, they were like, no, let's restart the match. Bandito hits his finisher, beats Jericho, and we have no longer the 9. We might get the 10 or the DS after. And it was a cool movie to see Bandito have the belt, but it's like, is it gonna go back to ROH and just never come back? Like, you know, like, I don't know what they're doing there, but hopefully they'll have something figured out when they get to Atlantic City.
I know you were live, and I don't know if you've seen the clip, but my biggest takeaway from that match, and you know, I think I've talked about it on here, but one of the reasons that I struggle with AEW is the announce team. JR needs to hang it up. I know they only bring him out for certain occasions, but he takes me out of it. And Shivani just doesn't do it for me. I don't know what it is. I loved him back in the day in the WCW era, but I cannot stand him now.
Fun fact that you don't know as somebody that's watching on TV is I realized, because, you know, now I'm very more observant. Tony Schiavone, when he gets up from the broadcast table, he just walks the production area, like right next to where they put press. He's just walking back and forth, like waiting for like the match to be over, and then he goes back to the announce table because they swap out whoever he came in for.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh man, it's like he's just like, all right, like he's jonesing to get back on the mic. But so you were saying, like, what took you out about this match? What was going on?
So I don't know if you've seen the clip, and I doubt you can hear it live, but Bandito goes for the 21-plex finisher, and Shivani's voice cracks, and he just goes, 21-plex? And
he goes, what?
His voice gets so squeaky high. It goes, 21-plex? And I have shared that clip with every person I know. And then immediately they try and make up for it with, oh, it's the 21-plex. But it was too late. The damage was done. And I feel like that's every other match for me when I invest in AEW. I want to love them. I want them to be successful, but it just keeps frustrating me.
But they have some good performers. Like
the in-ring performance, if we could go by that strictly, would be great until they royally botch.
So the next match, we had the women's championship. Toni Storm is absolutely on fire. and they got somebody like Megan Bain there that is amazing. I honestly think it's going to be amazing. Like their future secure in terms of athletic ability, but it's the booking where, like, I think, in my opinion, and using the worst part is probably horrible, but I think the biggest, compared to the rest of the card, the biggest letdown was the title match. It was just like a beat down, like brawling, biting. Moxley spent a ton of time trying to bust open Swerve the hard way, and then they finally ended up doing the razor, and then they ended up, and then at the end, like when the Young Bucks appeared, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing. Number one, why is Mox still the champion? I get he's amazing, but your crowd does not like it. And it's not like the beginning of the Roman Reigns era when Roman won, and they're like, "Who's gonna beat him?" It's like, no, get this guy off of my TV right now. Like, it's not like bad go home heat. They just don't want him to be the champion, which you can still have Moxley. Just don't have him dominate the belt, and the belt has not made a TV appearance in like 6 months.
And it's just tired at this point. It feels like they don't know where they want to go, because they keep kind of introducing things that seem like it's going to lead to something, and I think that's the biggest knock that I've heard about AEW is the consistency in that storytelling.
But I am always curious to see where they go, and I will continue covering any events and any pay-per-views. I just, unfortunately, I know this show might seem biased, but I just don't have enough time in the week, and nobody wants to listen to a 2-hour pod where we cover every single wrestling show that happens. Like, if we add an AEW to this on a weekly basis, we'll be covering 7 shows. Yeah. It's like we all have lives.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's other wonderful AEW podcasts out there. We are a wrestling pod by wrestling fans for wrestling fans, but we try to stay weekly to WWE, and then we cover everything else because now it's WrestleMania season, baby. Like, maybe we'll circle back. Maybe we might we might get Dynamite if something happens more consistently. I just feel that compared to WWE TV, AEW TV is way better. But now this leads us to Raw. Tell us what's going on with Raw.
All right. So we kicked off Raw with the segment for the women's World Heavyweight title. Mm-hmm. Adam Pearce came out and he brought out Bianca Belair, Io Sky.
No, I like what Io Sky comes out. The greatest. I threw you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It did. It got me. Rhea Ripley. Yeah, you did throw me off. They brought up.
Was he fixing his hair?
Yeah.
No, I was doing what what's it called? Io does.
Oh, where she was pointing
and left. Yeah. So
that's her thing.
He was basically like, we're not doing this. We're just gonna have all 3 of y'all in the match, which is what we've talked about off camera, and I feel like on camera for weeks now, figuring out how do we make this happen and everything else. He said he was wrong. He shouldn't have put Bianca in that position to be the special guest referee and everything else because they couldn't handle being professional together. So came out and he was just like, look, I need 3 signatures on this contract and then we're good. See y'all at Mania. They would have it. Bianca and Rhea wanted to have their little back and forth. Bianca signed and she threw the contract at Rhea. Rhea wasn't really having that. Eventually she signed and she threw it back at Bianca. They're still not paying any attention to Io Sky at this point. I think she got mushed by.
Yeah, they definitely little sister her out of the picture.
Oh my God. So Io starts to leave. Adam Pearce is like, no, I need your signature. I need her signature on this contract. She hits the top rope and hits what I feel like was a drop kick to the back of Rhea. Rhea headbutts Bianca, and then Io signs the contract and does her little, grabs her belt and walks backstage. So I think that was a great segment. What did y'all think about that one?
I thought it was good. It was pretty good. It sets the tone. Like it kind of positions Io Sky to be the big dog. You know what I mean, so to speak. Like she's still doing her thing. So I like it.
Yeah, they're treating her like the little sister, and she's showing, nah, that ain't it. But I will say, probably the most surprising thing is how the crowd seems to be turning on Bianca for no reason other than she's going against Rhea.
Hey, and I think Bianca is one of those people that she could switch up and be a heel.
And
She started off as a heel in NXT.
Would love to see it.
Yeah, I'd have no issue with it at all, but she's handled it fantastically. So even last night when they started to boo her, she went, well, no, wait a second. And then the crowd was like, oh, you know what? You're right.
That's the difference between her and Charlotte. Charlotte was frazzled. Bianca with less years experience is like, no. Like, you know, she does it. It's a good things.
She was like,
little things.
I did this, and then the crowd was like, oh shit, you did. Yeah, that's right. You did do all those things.
So Marcos, well, what you were saying is Io the bad guy since she was the only one in white?
I don't know. I think Io just likes wearing white. Like, like I don't think there was anything here, but I think Io does play the spoiler. I honestly think, and I'm gonna go on record and saying it.
Oh, don't do it.
She's gonna walk out champ.
Really? They
Yeah.
break Bianca's streak?
Yeah, you keep talking about this. I think she walks out the champ because this is gonna lead to a singles program between Bianca and Rhea.
And they don't need the belt for that.
Yep.
This is true, but Io's last
it
reign
started off about the belt, but
terrible.
now it's getting really, really personal for them too.
Facts.
And what's going to happen is, I think they just previewed what's going to happen in the finish. Io's going to hit a finish, is going to hit a move that's going to lead one of them to knock into the other. She's going to hit her finisher and run out with the belt. And then the person who doesn't take the pinfall is going to look at the other person and be like, you cost me this belt.
Yeah.
Then
they got the perfect
I can see it
for
happening. Man, I can see it happening like that.
And Rhea Bianca is so big, and we've waited for it for so long that it doesn't need a belt to make it.
It doesn't.
And then guess who comes back to Raw? The man.
Damn it. Man.
Wow. So much disdain.
I love Becky. Becky is a very dynamic performer. She's just as good as her husband.
I loved Becky in the beginning. Towards the end, it was definitely wearing me down. I loved the man. I didn't like the I'm weird like my husband.
Who can dress better competition?
I mean, the irony is they're not dressing each other.
No.
They are using the same stylist, I believe.
You think so? Because
I think
Troy
dresses her.
Becky be beating
I think they're both being dressed by Mugatu from Zoolander.
It's all plays into his character. Don't think that the guy's just pulling these pieces like, yo, they're gonna look dope. It's just it goes into his character.
Hey,
he's like, this is designer and dumb. I'm gonna wear this.
Some do be fly. Some be out there, but some be
like
fly.
I know people hated the what's it called, the robot boots, but I thought it went well with Seth's character. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about those.
Yeah, like I think out of anybody that wore them, Seth was actually the one person that wore them well.
Who wrestled in them? Somebody hit a move in them. Was it Seth or was it?
Yeah, it was Seth. It was the day that he wore them.
Yeah, like, he did a stomp with them.
Yeah,
that's what it was. That was probably the most comfortable stomp somebody ever took.
Yep. Fun fact: those are, I believe, 3D printed. I believe.
I think so. So jumping forward, we get a.
Before we jump, I will call out. I should have done this on SmackDown, but speaking to Rollins fashion, he was probably the most subdued on Friday that we've seen. But he definitely had a pair of boots that Bray Wyatt used to wear.
The black and red flame
The
boots.
flame boots.
Yeah.
So good little tribute there. I should have called that out. But since we're talking fashion,
I mean, boots is kind of
this
fly.
is a fashion podcast by fashion icons for fashion icons. As you can see by our multiple different T-shirts of muted colors.
Hey, Brooklyn's own. Rest in peace.
Yep.
Hilarious. All right, so jumping forward, we had a short little segment with the Judgment Day. Basically,
Clubhouse is back.
Clubhouse, baby.
It's still looking bland.
They had the video game. That was your complaint.
They did.
You said they're not even playing video games. And Carlito's like, look at my rating.
They listened to me.
No. They listened to the pod.
Hey, there you go. There we go. Somebody
plugged
watching.
in, baby.
Somebody watching. So yeah, they had their little segment. Basically, Finn came out and he was like, I don't know how I feel about both of us being in this match. He's referring to Dom. Then we get Liv, and she's like, what's better than one person being in a match? Two people. She was like, now there's twice as much of a chance for this title to come back to the clubhouse, which is what they call their little lair. Then he goes on to talk about how everybody thinks that Dom can't do it. He can't win at WrestleMania. He sucks. He's this, that, and the third. And he's like, well, you get a chance to prove it tonight in your match by yourself, because I'm not going to be there. And then he dips out. You get Carlito having his little moment and saying, I'm being your corner. I got you. You're the one that brought me in. So
when was the last time Carlito had a match that's been televised? Because I know he wrestles every Dark House, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I need him to spit in somebody's face, though. Give me old Carlito.
I mean, he's having a ton of fun, and I think he's in a position where he's living his Rick Rude days, where he's just muscle.
Hey, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah,
not at all. Let's see. After that segment, we got the Women's Intercontinental Championship match with Lyra. I feel like I be pronouncing her name wrong. What with
Lyra Valkyrie and Bailey, and which the result of that match saw Bailey I believe she got rolled up, or she lost very quickly, and she was frustrated. And then at the end, they teased her turning on her, but then she kind of came back and was like, all right, you got me. And then it's like, I think it's going to lead us to her turning on her. And I like a heel Becky, but it's not going to be a preachy heel Becky. It's just going to be a heel Becky where she's like,
why are we talking about Becky? You talk about Bailey.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Bailey. A heel Bailey. I love a heel Bailey. And I think it's a good place to put this program. And I truly believe that the tag team match that they're having for the women's tag is just to get us to the one-on-one encounter.
Now, we started on it when we were talking in the earlier segment. Is that a Mania match? I think it's going to be.
I don't know. Maybe.
Match?
No. Lyra Valkyria and Bailey for the Intercontinental.
Oh, another run at it. You don't think
it's going to be
the tag team gauntlet?
I don't think they're going to win the tag team. I think something's going to happen. They're going to blame each other. Bailey's going to heel turn, and it's going to be the two of them for the Intercontinental at Mania.
Yep. I see that 100% happening.
Okay. Night one match?
Maybe. Or pre-show, or who knows? Whatever. They have so much space that entire weekend.
They need to start doing pre-show matches again.
So what happens after this particular match? Like what's next down the card?
Well, the next thing on the card, it was the backstage segment with American Made. Can't remember the guy's name. If somebody can help with that.
Bert Kreischer.
There we go.
Bert Kreischer came out with
Shane. Take over this segment because you enjoyed this one more than me. Talk to me.
Well, so the backstage segment, Bert Kreischer is a comedian that is in that Joe Rogan sphere, which people love it, people hate it. I think he kind of peaked the moment that he hit the stage with his Russian storytelling, and everything since then has been living on that, which more power to him. He's incredibly successful. His podcast is insanely successful. But that all led to, we know that we're in Minnesota tonight. We're in Gable's hometown. Sadly, because he's still sick from his doctor's note, he's not going to be able to compete. But we're going to get the Creed brothers with El Grande Americano versus
Which
the
is
LWO in a 6-man tag.
which I thought it was hilarious. And
And
that
not
match was
only
pretty
hilarious, that match, in my personal opinion, absolutely stole the show for the night. In terms of the in-ring performance, LWO showed out. Especially Joaquin, he did fantastic. It was the best match that I've seen him have in the WWE. And if we get more of that, give me that. But we also had a little backstage segment with AJ Styles to hype AJ Styles and Logan Paul.
Yeah. So we had that little segment. Basically, shortly after that, Cross comes out with Cross comes out and he's telling him, like, hey, you need to win. We need to see that old AJ Styles, that killer mentality that you used to have back in the day. AJ Styles has this little back and forth, like, oh, that's what you want to see. This is what you need to see. You know what? I'm going to talk to Adam Pearce, and you're going to get to see that next week. Just playing right into Cross's hands.
What's the greatest thing is that, you know, when WrestleMania season, Karrion Kross is wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the ring versus AJ Styles. I like that.
We love to see it. We love to see it. I still love that Cross comes out. Whoever he's trying to get in their ear, he's wearing their hairstyle.
I love it.
To a T. So, great thing for me. After that, we had the Jey Uso Gunther segment. Gunther comes out. I don't even think he gets a word in before Jey Uso's music hits. Jey Uso's in all black. Jey Uso's not yeeting. Ain't no shirts. I think he might have had on his sunglasses, maybe even not.
He did. He came out and was straight business.
Listen,
cut probably one of his best promos.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
And
for sure.
And the tagline that he said, "I ain't scared of you no more." For those of you guys that are Home Alone fans, that's what Kevin said. So, like, only the real ones know.
Oh, yes.
Except for Kevin immediately ran around terrified.
Who?
Kevin immediately ran around terrified when he said, "I'm not scared of you anymore." They go, and runs.
But you know
what he was doing.
Jay's context was a little bit different, and then you saw the crack in Gunther's like arrogance. He was like, "Oh,
sure."
Like, oh shit. He was like, "Oh, he's taking this seriously." He's like, "Well, I should have not done that." And a great promo segment, a great segment for the champion. I think less is more at this particular point. Let their ring talent do the talking. I think a toned down Jay until Mania is probably going to be the best.
Oh, it's gonna play out really well. Did y'all catch that Pat McAfee said he told Jay, he was like, Jay, Minneapolis will yeet all over. We will yeet all over Gunther. No,
yeah.
I'm probably the only one who caught it. I thought it was hilarious.
I got it. So what happened after this particular segment, which was an A1 segment?
It was great. It was great. After that, I mean, we had the New Day. You know what I'm saying? One of the best tag teams in tag team wrestling.
They rock. I thought they were going to win the belts last night.
Listen, I really did too. I
thought so too.
I was hitting up sources like, hey, I know y'all talk to people. Tell me something. Good match, good back and forth. I know just from interviews, their podcast before and everything else, that normally the way they build their matches is if they are losing the majority of the match, they have their comeback at the end to take the title or to take the win. This week, it did not go like that. They did have their comeback, but it did end in a DQ with the Viking Raiders hitting Xavier Woods with the chair. That Xavier
Ass
Woods brought
Viking
in.
Raiders.
So that means that it's a Mania match.
Hey, look, it didn't happen yet. I wanted to
It's
get that
gonna
backstage
happen. I
segment.
think it's
before
gonna
the show
happen.
ended.
Was the backstage segment on Raw or was that a WWE?
That I'm not sure. I didn't watch
Special.
live.
Because I missed that portion right after the match. I did see a clip though, and I'm not sure if it was like a .com clip or what, but I saw a clip of them in the back going, "Yeah, they had to cheat us. You know, we should have won the titles right there. We're going to Adam Pearce right now. We won our shot at Mania."
Oh,
So
that
I
was
think
not
that's a
live.
Mania match.
That was not live because I didn't see that at all. But I will find it once we are done because I need to know.
Yeah.
So that was a quick little match. Still very good. We got Penta and Dominic right after. Basically, good back and forth between the two. Penta ends up taking that dub, and Braun Breaker comes out and lays waste to everybody in the ring.
That spear when he took off down the aisle and did a front flip after he speared Carlito. I've watched that like 800 million times. That is amazing.
His athleticism is insane.
There is a clip from somebody that was sitting front row that shows an alternate angle. Find that if you haven't seen it. Because you
look for that one.
Braun was almost to the point that he could have landed on his feet.
That one
and I think eventually he's going to do that. He's going to spear somebody and land on his feet and just be like, "What?
Like I'm him?" That's crazy,
bro. He's another person that you don't need him on the mic. Just have him go out there and just show you what kind of freak of nature he is. I love the fact that we're kind of in a place that it doesn't matter who wins the belt. Everybody, the crowd is going to go home happy. This is going to be a banger of a match. Honestly, might be a show stealer.
And it's so much
chaos.
Like,
just chaos. That's all I'm trying to see. Give me that match with just as much chaos as possible. Like for me, that one's Roman Gunther part 2, or not Roman Gunther, Roman Cody part 2. That title match, night 2 of WrestleMania. I just wanted chaos. So yeah, just give me chaos with that match.
Which I think with that match, it's likely leading to Penta getting his first title. But like you were just saying, I would not be upset with any single one of these guys walking out.
Hey, the real ones want Dom to walk out with the belt.
If Dom walks out, I am all for it. I am.
Oh God,
be up there like he does with his little fake muscle flex.
So does he come out with the lowrider? It's Mania.
Oh yes. My gosh!
Yes, he does.
Please.
With his mommy by his side, his new mommy. Oh, yes.
His new mommy.
Give me Raquel and Carlita in the back too.
He had China at first. Eddie had China, and then he had Vicky. So Liv is Vicky Guerrero.
Right. Hey, yeah.
She's making stuff happen for him.
Slightly different, but I see where you're going.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, she makes stuff happen for him and everything else, Okay.
I'm with that.
That lowrider, that's a fantastic idea.
I mean,
hopefully they give him that. Like that'll be a highlight. You know what I mean?
I don't see it not happening. Like he rides around with it. He was in Atlanta with it at Bad Blood. Like it's gonna be there. Why not use it? His dad came out with it, their first WrestleMania match at 39. So why not?
Let's see. So what else we got here?
So that segment ended with Finn Balor coming out and taking out Braun, basically picking up the belt and staring at everybody, staring at Dom a little longer than everybody else, but standing up in the middle of the ring, holding that title, showing everybody that he's serious and he's coming for that belt. That's how that segment ended. After that, we got the show ender. We got Seth Rollins coming out. Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman.
With a subdued fit, though. We talk about how Seth
You talking about
a little
the
normal, baby.
bathrobe?
That
was a bathrobe.
No, but the jeans though. The
I don't
jeans.
even remember the jeans.
He's like, he did not come out normal. He came out in the bathroom.
Oh,
Still, that man, he's a genius. But anyway, go ahead. He came
Now I
out.
gotta
They
see
cut a
the jeans.
promo.
I'm gonna have to look that up later. All right, so Seth came out. Basically, Paul was out there. He talked about how he's not turning on his tribal chief. He still loves his tribal chief, but he's also not turning on his best friend in the world. He added in the world part. His best friend in the world, CM Punk, he's not turning on either one of them.
In the world, Craig? In the
world.
In the world.
So then you get Seth Rollins coming out, basically telling him like, yo, you need to be removed from this match. You don't need to be involved. You got the person you love and you got your best friend in this match. Like, you just need to go. He was basically like, I would be honored to take you out. It'd be my pleasure to take you out of this match. He's like, it could be so easy, so quick. He didn't say painless, but he did say easy.
He was like, it's one curb stomp away. And then it's funny, your boy CM Punk apparently teleported from Chicago because he said he wasn't in the building.
Was not there.
And came out just to eat an ass whooping.
But wait. Paul Heyman grew some cojones. And that man said, don't put your hands on me again.
He said,
don't you put your hands on me. Get your hands off me. Get your hand out of my pocket.
Boy, look, I haven't seen Paul like that in a while. So it was great. But yeah, so CM Punk popped up, came out, took an L. Seth Rollins chilling in the back in the corner, getting ready for the curb stomp while Paul Heyman's checking on CM Punk. And he comes up short on purpose. And the segment ends with Seth Rollins telling Paul Heyman, now you owe me a favor.
Because I didn't you out. All the pieces are lining up.
It is. It's lining
they definitely are.
To exactly what you said.
But if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna have to hit you with the Uncle Dave. That was the plan until it wasn't.
The plan, but they switched it up at the last minute.
No, that's gonna be a great match. I definitely see why it's gonna be the end of night one. Unfortunately, it should have been Jimmy, in my opinion.
Jay,
I still don't. You know what I meant.
Y'all are all over the place with these names tonight.
The other brother, the other one.
So this leads us to pretty much done with this particular episode. I think we're at a good stopping point. Guys, next week is going to look different. I'm going to be on hiatus next week. You guys are running the ship, and then
because you're going to be running to a ship.
Yep, and Derek is going to be literally jet setting right after. And
at some point, and the man goes to Vegas.
Yeah, we basically, we're gonna transform and come together like Voltron afterwards. So that's gonna be dope. So, guys, you guys have anything come up? Like, Derek, where can they find you, or do you want them to where can they follow us?
Where can they follow us? They can follow us everywhere now. We have the Facebook is up, the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Everywhere is all the same. It's Bumps and Bruises Podcast. If you're looking on Instagram, it is Bumps, the letter N, Bruises Pod. Go check it out. Go follow. Watch your favorite episodes. Leave a comment. Yeah.
Tell us what you want to see. If you're not seeing it from us now, tell us how you want it. We'll see if we can incorporate.
What about you, Shane?
Same thing. Go follow that pod. We've been putting a lot of work into getting it out there as many places as we can. You can find me at Drizzen13 on X/Twitter and on Instagram.
Yep. Of course, I'm Marcos at the Sunset Kid 56. Please like, subscribe, follow us on anything. We're Bumps and Bruises Pod or Bumps and Bruises. Find us on anything. But once again, Happy Mania season. We'll see you next time from fans like you for you guys. Peace.